Hey guys, Julian here, and today I've got a little bit of a different type of video for you. Today I'm going to be breaking down for you what made a very successful track successful. The track we're going to be talking about here is Eats Everything Space Raider Charlotte DeWitt remix. Here's a moment of it if you haven't already heard it. This video, you probably heard of it. It was a very popular track in the past year. And today, like I said, I'm just going to be talking about a few different things that I think added up to make it success. So the first thing here is the simplicity of this track. This is a very simple track. There's like maybe 7 or 8 sounds in total, if that. Like if you listen at any time, there's no more than like 3 or 4 sounds playing. You can hear like the drums are very simple. It's just tick, 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 and then a hi-hat playing on the upbeats, and then a ride. And maybe a little bit of that loop in the background, but you can hear even like when they use the drum loop, it's not just like straight just playing over top of everything. It's kind of like chopped a little bit, and it fits in there a little more. As you can hear, so it doesn't like just take up the whole mix. So yeah, this is a really simple track, and honestly, it's a really important lesson to learn is that simplicity is key. The most simple things usually are the best. Like if you don't have too much happening, what happens is the audience or the people listening to your track can hear what they're listening to and kind of fit themselves into it. It sort of creates this space. There's space in the music. If you have too much stuff happening, it overloads the brain, and it's just too much stuff to really like get into that space, and it's hard to really connect with the track. So that is really a big thing with this one. It's just the simplicity. Like it's just so simple. It works. There's the rave stab. The hi-hats are in there as much as they need to be to build tension. There's barely even any effects. Like all the effects are done using the sounds. Like here. And there's like that delay on the rave stab, It's not just like adding like a over top of it to build a bunch of tension. It's just all done naturally using the elements that are already there. So if you learn anything from this track, simplicity is key. I think the simplicity of this really made it something that a lot of people could play and a lot of people wanted to listen to because it's not trying to throw too much at you. It's just very simple and it works really well. The next thing that the track has going for it is rave nostalgia. So obviously, as you can hear, there's rave stabs. There's like this little vocal sample, the woo type sound. There's all kinds of stuff in here that has like a very ravey feel to it. Even like you could say, like the kick kind of has that dark, more warehousey feel to it, and there's like a bit of noise over top of it as well. Even that is adding to this sort of like nostalgic and kind of old school influence in this track. I won't say it really feels old school because it doesn't, it feels like a modern track, but it has an old school influence to it very strongly. And so, yeah, this is a really great thing. If you're trying to make a track that connects with a lot of people, try and come up with stuff that, like I said, feels kind of nostalgic or feels kind of familiar to them, because then every time you hear this, you know exactly what it is. You just immediately get that same kind of nostalgic, ravey feeling. So I think that works really well to this track's benefit, and I think that's a lot of what made it really popular. And the other thing here is I think it's perfect timing, It wasn't just like, oh, let me just come up with something brand new that nobody's ever heard before and try to throw it at them. It's like they kind of waited and let the rave nostalgia get bigger and bigger, and more people are listening to it now, and more people are into that style. So now was like a perfect time to hit with this, versus, if you did this in, say, like 2014 or 2015, when this kind of stuff was first coming out and it was like first kind of getting known that this stuff was cool again, it wouldn't have been as effective. So that's another thing. It's like, if you're trying to latch on to something like this, like if you want to do something with, kind of a ravey sound, maybe you want to use like these stabs, like a 303 or something like that, anything like that, don't just dive in the second like you think it's first starting out, or don't just try to dive in and do something completely new that people haven't heard. Wait for it to kind of get popular first, and then you can put your take on it, because at this point everybody was waiting for just like a big kind of track like this that you could play that had the cool rave feeling to it that would just work really well at festivals and in clubs. And this filled that void, you know. It really, like, I think it was really effective for that means, not just because of the nostalgia and the rave sounds, of course, that stuff is really good, but also just, I think it was perfect timing with that stuff as well. So the other thing to talk about here, the third point that I've got written down on my paper here, is the label and Eats Everything and Charlotte DeWitt's careers and how that contributed to it as well. You know, if this track came out, say it was an original track, say it was called whatever you could think of to call it, and it just came out on like a label that not a lot of people knew, or it was out from an artist that not a lot of people knew, I don't think it would have done as well. You know, it was kind of like what I was saying before with the nostalgia and all that. It was perfect timing, you know. Both Eats Everything and Charlotte DeWitt have been growing their careers in the past few years. You know, this wasn't just the first thing Charlotte came out and did. She had already had a few successful tracks, you know, she was getting known, she was building and building and building, playing more and stuff. And then she came with this heavy-hitting remix that was just the perfect track for everybody to play and to get really popular. And the same thing with Eats Everything. You know, over the past few years, he's been building his career as well. And, you know, I think if you just dropped this out of nowhere, it wouldn't have been as effective. So that's the other thing. I really think it's important to kind of build something. And the way you do that is with consistency, you know. Charlotte DeWitt and Eats Everything have put out consistent, solid releases on nice labels over the past few years, and it all culminated in this big moment. And also with the label as well, you know, this was like an interesting new label, Needed Pains, you know, it just came out. It was by two popular DJs already, you know. They kind of had like a promotional network that could get this to the right people. If you just dropped this on some little no-name label that wasn't really popular, I don't think it would have done as well. And it's not to say it's a bad track, I'm just saying this is important. You know, good music isn't enough. This is just the truth of the music industry that we are participating in, is that good music isn't enough anymore. You know, you can have a really fire track like this, but if you don't have the right support and you don't have the right label and you don't already kind of have something going for you, it's not going to go anywhere. So you have to work all the time to build this up so that when you have something great like this, it gets out the right way and you're able to get to good labels and people know who you are. And then the last thing that I think really contributed to this track getting really popular was support. This track got played by everybody. You know, it was really, really popular for a period of time there. Of course, now not a lot of people are playing it. I mean, a lot of people still play it, but it's a little bit more known. But when it was first coming out and not a lot of people knew what it was, like, it really was just getting played a ton, and it was getting out there. And that's the other thing, you know, again, good music isn't enough. You really need the exposure as well. And the way that you get this is by getting to good labels and by getting known and building relationships with people that you can send your tracks to for promotion so that they can play them when you have something really good like this. You know, I think that support really meant a lot. If this just came out on Spotify, no big DJs played it, it didn't get anywhere like on Beatport or anything like that, again, it just wouldn't have been as big. But by getting all the great support that it got, and by climbing up the Beatport charts, and just by being a really strong track in that regard in general, it really contributed to its success. And that's a really great track, but like I said, you know, you can hear it. It's just so perfect for the dance floor. It's simple. It's just got something, you know, it's really energetic. It's really full sounding with only a few elements. It just works so well. So everybody wanted to play it. And it ended up working out really well because the track got really big. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this one, guys. I just wanted to try a different type of video. Let me know what you think of this video in the comments. Let me know if you want to see more videos in this style. I figure I talk so much about the actual techniques of making music. I want to try making something where I kind of talk about the ideas behind music a little bit more and the ideas behind how something gets popular. So hopefully we can all learn something from this and make some tracks that get really popular. So that's it for this one, guys. I hope you enjoyed. As always, make sure to like this video as well as subscribe. And let me know what you think of this video in the comments. If you want to support me, you can check out my Bandcamp, which has all my sample packs on there. They're all like $5 or $10, so it's a great way to support me. I don't really make any money from this video. And yeah, if you want to check out my social media, all that is in the description as well. Thank you so much, guys, and I'll see you tomorrow with another video.